Hey guys, welcome back to Southside Boy Style. I'm going to start this video off today with thanking all of the new subscribers that subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate all of you, and to all of my subscribers that's been here for a while, again, I really appreciate all of you. I do these videos just to show you kind of what I do in my life and the things I'm at or working on, and you guys can learn something, or maybe you're having a similar or the same problems with a vehicle you have as I'm having with the vehicles I have around me. Maybe it can help you out. I noticed one of my videos for an airbag issue is really helping a lot of you out, and I'm glad of that, because airbag issues can cost a lot of money. And if it's someone like me that took the time and spent the money and then finally figured out, it was so simple that didn't cost a dime, I'm only too glad to put that on YouTube to share it with you guys, my subscribers, or anybody that would want to save money on fixing cars. Sometimes it's the easiest things that are issues, but you take it to a garage and they make it be big obstacles and cost lots of money, because at the end of the day, a mechanic in a garage wants to make money. So that's why I do what I do. All the years I've been working at vehicles, it's all trial and error for me, and still to this day I'm always running into little issues. Trying to work out an issue now with a speed sensor in a 2014 Ford Escape. Anyway, that's a video for next time. In today's video, what I'm going to be talking about is braking. So knowing if your pads are getting bad, your brake pads, or knowing if your front rotors are getting bad or your rear rotors are getting bad. I'm going to give you tips and tricks on knowing what to look for, knowing what vibration and shaking to pay attention to, because between the front and back rotors of your vehicle, it's a different shake in different positions, and that's how you determine on what rotors, if it's your front or your rear. And today I'm going to go over all those things with you guys. One thing I can tell you about having issues with your rotors is, I'm trying to think of a way to say this sensibly so people won't leave comments and and say whatever. But if you're starting to get a little bit of shaking or a little bit of steering wheel movement, or a little bit of vibration, like you'd feel it if it's the front rotors, you would feel it in the steering wheel. So when you touch your brake and you're braking, you'll feel that little shake in your steering wheel, and that'll indicate front rotors. And it's just a little bit of warpage in the rotor, which is caused from friction and heat from braking maybe too often. I find in life, from what I see, if I'm driving behind certain people like to ride their brake. And what I mean by that is they brake very, very slightly in situations where they almost don't need it. If they let go of the gas pedal, the car will keep a certain speed, or the vehicle you're driving will keep a certain speed. But a lot of people like to ride on their brake a lot. That makes your rotors hot. Now, with all that being said, 9 chances out of 10, it's always going to be your front rotors that gets the worst out of anything, because the front is what gets it first, then the back. So 9 chances out of 10, when you feel vibration, it's going to start out in your steering wheel. You'll feel that little vibration right in your steering wheel. And then if it's the rear, you're going to feel that vibration in your seat. So right in your butt, you're going to feel that vibration. As soon as you put the brake on, you're going to feel a little shaking, and I call it, you feel the vibration in your seat, right? And that's a pure indication it's not the front rotors, it's the rear rotors, because you feel it beneath the car, which is coming from the rear of the vehicle. If you're putting your brake on and your steering wheel is shaking and you feel the vibration in your seat, that's 100% indication that your front and rear rotors are getting bad. I don't know how it works in the US. I can tell you in Canada, they don't allow rotor resurfacing anymore. So what that means is you put it on a machine and the rotor spins around, and there's a little, I think it's a diamond blade, that spins and it takes off any high parts or any little indeficiencies in the rotor. But I don't think you're allowed to do that anymore in Canada. In the US, I'm not sure how it works there. I know some old timers still have these machines. I actually know a guy who still has the machines. I won't do it. I've said in videos before, I don't like doing anything I'm technically not supposed to do, and I find when these rules are made, they're made for a reason. Some of these cheap rotors that you would buy for your vehicle right now are just that. They're cheap, so they need all of the thickness they can get in order to keep your car running, you know, good for a while, right? You want that good braking. A thin rotor is not going to give you that. It's going to get hot quickly, and you're going to get vibrations and shaking, you know, within a couple months of purchasing rotors. So I wouldn't resurface my rotors anymore because they deemed it, I don't know if it's illegal, I just don't think nobody does it anymore. And rotors are not, certain rotors, some rotors, performance rotors obviously are expensive, but economy rotors are not expensive. I mean, any mid-sized sedan vehicle now, you can pick up rotors for like a couple $100. And that's not too bad. Why risk it, you know, to resurface your rotors? It's not like if you buy half decent rotors for a couple $100, they're going to last you, you know, a couple years in a normal running vehicle. And another thing is, I always buy armor coated rotors. So when I buy my rotors for my vehicle, I get the armor coated rotors. And I make sure when I change my rotors and disc pads, as I'm working it, I wear gloves. I try to keep grease off the rotors. And also when I'm done, I clean everything with brake cleaner when I put it back on, because any contaminants that's on the rotor is going to eat at the pad. That's what a lot of people say. I've seen that. I've seen those pads be eaten away from grease and whatever you have on your hands because you're working at your vehicle. And so I make sure everything's clean. You guys should too, right? Always clean everything, especially when it comes to brakes. You don't want any dirt, grime, grit, sand, gravel, anything like that on your rotor, because your pad's going to pick up on that. It's just going to eat away at everything and going to eat away at your rotor. So make sure it's clean, right, when you're working at it. Now, obviously, when it's installed on your vehicle, it's not going to stay clean. You know, it's exposed to the elements, but the best thing we can do is clean it as we're working on it. And the next thing is your disc pads. So your front and rear pads, now they have their indicators. So if you're braking and you're starting to notice that you're getting a squeaking sound, that's your indicators. It's little metal tabs on top of your pads, and what's actually happening is they're gapped between. Okay, so you have a little metal piece, and what that little metal piece does, as your pads wear, your pads are about that thick, okay? So as your pads wear down, there's a little metal bracket. It wears down to a certain point, and it allows that metal bracket to actually scrape on your rotor. So if you ever wonder why sometimes you put your foot on the brake and you get that squeak come from your vehicle, that's an indication that your disc pads are getting bad. If you let that continue, there's going to be damage, because that little metal piece that's giving you the indication is actually hitting the rotor, so that can't be good. And also, you don't want to, pads are cheap, right? You know, 30-40 bucks you can get brake pads, a couple $100 for rotors. I mean, to change your pads once a year, what's 30-40 bucks, right? Compared to a couple $100 for rotors. So anyways, front and back, you have little metal pieces on your pads. They're little indicators letting you know that it's getting time to change your pads, right? And they will scrape, and when you hear it, you'll know it. You'll have to change your brakes. Sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes when you get a squeak or a squeal from your brakes, it could be grit, dirt got between your pad and your rotor. But you'll know if it's that, because if you are braking and you only hear the squeak for like a couple seconds and it goes away, it doesn't come back, well, then that wasn't your indicators telling you your pads are bad. That was probably dirt or something got inside between your pads and your rotor. And the sound is kind of different. You'll know. But I understand there's a lot of people out there that don't know what that scraping sound is. 9 chances out of 10, it's your indicators telling you it's time to change your pads. So that's going to end up wrapping it up for this video. It's just a little short one just after the new year. So 2021 is gone. Now we're on 2022. Let's hope life gets a little bit better for all of us. Let's hope this pandemic goes away so we can all get back to some normalcy in our lives. It's affecting me and my family, and I'm sure it's affecting a lot of you guys too. And you know, I hope it gets better for everybody. A lot of people are hurting, and that's too bad. So let's hope and pray that 2022 is a better year for everybody. And I want 2022 to be perfect for all my subscribers. And I really appreciate each and every one of you. And I'm trying to bring videos out to you guys, trying to get new content. And I'm hoping to be better at it. I'm hoping to bring it out faster. But, you know, life is on us. I've had a lot of bad things happen to me in 2021. And I'm hoping 2022 is just going to be a little bit easier for me. And but thank you guys very much, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm going to end this video off with a little something different, and you'll see it right now.